What does it mean to be rich? Is it the luxury car in the driveway, designer clothes, the ability to travel first class and stay in five-star hotels? When I was younger, I would have said so. But everything shifted once I discovered minimalism, and I realized I'd been going about it all wrong. Most people spend their entire life chasing financial wealth, thinking that's what will ultimately make them happy. But will it? In a recent Harvard study, 2,000 millionaires were asked how much money they would need to be happy. And basically everyone said 2 to 3 times as much as I have now. And they are millionaires. The Stoic Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. And minimalism has taught me how true that is. So today I want to share how minimalism has made me rich. Time freedom. I've been a minimalist for about 5-6 years now. It all started when I watched the documentary Minimalism. And then I kind of went down the rabbit hole. The Minimalists, Machiavelli, Leo Babauta, Fumio Sasaki, Marie Kondo. And then I kicked into action. After I decluttered my home, I felt this sense of not just space, but also mental clarity. And it freed up a lot of my time. Less time spent cleaning, organizing, maintaining, and just thinking about my stuff. But the impact of minimalism went beyond my stuff. In the Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel writes that the highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. And that's the type of richness I'm after in life. We're all born into this world with a limited amount of hours. It's our most precious resource. It's something you can't buy more of. Once it's gone forever, no matter how much billionaires are trying to pursue immortality. To make a living, we trade some of the time for money. But for many of us, somewhere along the way, our whole lives start to revolve around money and the things it buys. Lifestyle inflation keeps us stuck on the hedonic treadmill, and money stops being just a tool. I now value time freedom over money. I love that I don't have to answer to a boss, or that I can spontaneously decide on a Tuesday morning to go get a cappuccino in a cafe and only start my workday at 11 a.m. without needing anyone's permission. I love that I don't have to keep working in a toxic work environment just because I need money to pay the bills. And that I can do a workout at 4 p.m. at home because I feel my energy levels drop. And I can just do that. I don't need to push through because I'm in some office where I'm expected to just function like a robot on steady energy every work hour of the day until 6 p.m. or even later. To me, that's worth more than any amount of money in the bank. Dream again. When I was a kid, I dreamt about having money so I could buy all the candy I wanted. Or in the weeks before Sinterklaas, which is basically the Dutch ancestor of Santa Claus, except he brings his gifts from Spain, we would get this mail order catalog from Intertoys, which is kind of like Toys R Us. And I would flip through it, all these toys, they look so cool. Life just felt limitless, full of possibility. But somewhere along the way, that changes. As adults, we change possibility for responsibility. Instead of dreaming or just trying to make it through the month to the next paycheck. It's exhausting. But that's what being an adult is, right? I remember reading Goodbye Things for the first time and being inspired by Fumio Sasaki's transition from an unhappy hoarder to a happy minimalist. He writes, I can't believe how my life has changed. I got rid of my possessions and I'm now truly happy. The joy he found in the simple things like reading, taking a bath, or not having to set his alarm, or the sunrise brightening up his apartment in the morning, it instilled this sense of peace, of calm in me. And through minimalism, I realized that my goal isn't to make a living, it's to make a life. I want to have time to think, to create, to have experiences, to read, to spend time with the people I care about, and to work on projects that feel purposeful to me, that feel meaningful to me, and also to just be, instead of chasing stuff and fluff. Minimalism has given me the mental clarity to design my life so that money supports these goals, instead of chasing money to follow some sort of script of success that isn't even mine. And it has allowed me to dream again. More than a decade ago, I suffered from 2 years of continuous headaches. It all started one afternoon after a long build-up of doing work I hated. I remember reviewing this IT contract and thinking to myself, I'm miserable. Why am I doing this? This led me to ultimately quit my job. Years later, when I discovered minimalism, things clicked. I realized I can choose and carve out my own path. Just because I got a law degree doesn't mean I have to work in that field forever. I can dream up a life on my own terms. That's why I love running this YouTube channel. The answer to the question, why am I doing this, is now inspiring me. I get to put minimalism into practice, share it, and have a positive impact on people like yourself who are also interested in simplifying and creating a life that you don't need a holiday from. And I'm able to pursue this because I'm spending less. By decluttering my possessions and only living with the essentials, I'm able to save more of my income while keeping my expenses low. And that allowed me to take a chance on making these videos and give it time to ultimately grow into something that can replace my income from other sources. If this sounds interesting so far, maybe you want to learn more about minimalism but you don't know where to get started, you can download my How to Get Started with Minimalism checklist in the description below. Know how much is enough. I think one of the saddest things about how many people live today is not that they don't have enough, but how money has become this source of stress instead of freedom. The thing that was supposed to give us options has become the thing that limits them. Now, life is expensive these days. I did an entire video about that just last week. But as one viewer commented on their video, somehow many people are still spending at astonishing rates. I can't look into their bank accounts, but here's an interesting stat. According to recent data from the New York Fed, Americans added another $44 billion to their credit card bills in Q4 of 2025, increasing the total credit card debt to a record $1.28 trillion. So I guess the question is, how much do you need to feel happy? How much is enough? Earlier we saw that it's not an absolute number, because even millionaires say they need 2 to 3 times more money than they have now. It reminds me of this quote by John Stuart Mill. Men do not desire to be rich, only to be richer than other men. Being money rich only exists in comparison to someone else. For you to feel rich, a lot of other people need to have less money than you do. And this is a never-ending game, unless you're the richest person on the planet. For me, there's a sweet spot where I have enough. I have my basic needs met, some comforts, niceties, some luxuries maybe even. Beyond that, you enter the zone of clutter. More stuff, more debt, more noise, more stress. Suddenly you're managing your possessions instead of enjoying them, and you're working longer hours to afford things you don't even have time to use. That doesn't sound very appealing to me. Adopting minimalism helped me understand what it means for me to have enough. Reducing my possessions created space for the things I truly value, and letting go of the people who drain my energy helped me be more present for my real friends. And I found that happiness becomes more attainable when you need less. I like how Derek Sivers put it. Wealth is half divided by want. Whereas making money is harder because it depends on other people, reducing what you need to be happy is easier because it's entirely under your control. I feel rich when I have enough. And since I prioritize time freedom over status and stuff, that gives me a lot of clarity. So my takeaway from all this is to check in with myself when I'm tempted to buy something and ask, don't I already have enough? Is this going to fulfill me or just add clutter to my life? This helps me be intentional with my money and save a lot, instead of spending just because. I want less. The French novelist Marcel Proust once wrote an essay about a young man who hated his ordinary life. He dreamt of palaces, art, and luxury. Today's equivalent of that will be someone who is always on social media comparing their mundane life to that of, influencers who are flaunting their Dubai apartments, their luxury Rolex watches, sports car, expensive holidays, and whatnot. Bruce wrote that he would take this man to the Louvre, but not to show him kings, cathedrals, or grand paintings. Now, instead he would show him the work of the painter Chardin. Chardin painted kitchens, fruit, and pots, everyday household objects, but he made them look beautiful. Bruce's point was simple. If you learn to see beauty in a painting of an ordinary kitchen, maybe eventually you will walk into your own kitchen and think, wait, this is beautiful too. A piece of pottery can be as beautiful as a jewel. It can be beautiful like a Chardin. I love this idea, seeing beauty in the mundane. When you're constantly chasing the next thing, a newer car, a bigger house, the latest gadget, you never arrive anywhere. You're always looking ahead, always feeling like you're missing something. It's exhausting, and it keeps you poor no matter how much money you make. But I found that when you learn to want what you already have, That's when you become rich, because you're content. You know you have enough and you're happy with it. You're no longer spending money trying to fill some void or working long hours to afford something you don't really need. I got better at saying no. I used to be a yes man, but that got me into trouble because I would take on too much work and too many commitments. And at times I would even feel resentful. Minimalism helped me get more clarity on why I didn't say no more often. In his book 4,000 Weeks, Oliver Berkman writes that we will never have enough time to do all the things we want to do, and we won't even be able to master the time we do have. Only once we can embrace that can we start living, can we start cultivating a fulfilling life. If that's true, I don't even have enough time to do the things I want to do. So it becomes even more important to not say yes to a bunch of things I don't want to do. James Clear points out that yes and no are not equal, because when you say no, you're just saying no to one option, but when you say yes, you're saying no to every other option. And research from the University of California in San Francisco shows that the more difficulty you have saying no, the more likely you are to experience stress, burnout, and even depression. When you say yes to a lot of requests, it's easy to get overwhelmed, because they can go at the expense of things you deeply value, like family time, living more intentionally, or pursuing your interests. In minimalism, there's this aphorism, less is more. By being more selective in what you say yes to, you create more space and time for the things you actually deeply care about. There's that time freedom again that's so valuable to me. What helped me get better at saying no was the book The Power of a Positive No, in which William Ury writes that a positive no doesn't stem from being against something, but is rooted in a deeper yes. For me, that deeper yes is wanting to live a more intentional life with calm, where I am in control of how I spend my days and I get to choose the projects I work on. And once I got that clarity, it became a lot easier for me to say no to requests, opportunities, and people that don't align with that, without feeling guilty. That's what minimalism gave me. It didn't make me a money millionaire, but it gave me the time, the space, and the peace of mind of knowing that I have enough. To me, minimalism is not about having a minimal number of possessions. Sometimes I wish we had a better word for the movement, because it's more about being intentional, about taking back control of your life. Minimalism is not a doctrine, it's not a competition. I always like to say minimalism has minimal rules. Minimalism is a tool to bring more joy and space to your life. It's a tool that can help you focus more on things that you truly care about. If you want to learn more about this, I created this video Minimalism for Beginners a while back, where I talk about this in more depth and how you can get started with minimalism. You can check it out right here. So thanks for watching. I hope you got some value out of this, some insight in my reasons for being a minimalist, and I'd love to see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.